Hey, Eileen, how are you?
I'm good, Cicely. How are you today?
I'm great. Listen, I'm excited for this conversation. I've really been looking forward to talking and picking your brain, quite frankly, about what you're seeing in this post-pandemic environment for people getting hired. So I'm just over the moon and ready to jump in here. I want to
And
introduce
I'm thrilled
myself.
to hear about what you're going to say about how to navigate that corporate space. It's very interesting because the two of us are in the same space, but we're running parallel. And I know that I've had clients that then I pass on to you because once I get them hired, you show them exactly how to grow their career.
Indeed, we are sort of bookends of the career journey for sure. So I appreciate that. Well, listen, introduce yourself and then I'll do the same.
Okay, my name is Eileen Ryan. I am an executive recruiter, a managing partner at Marketing and Sales Resources. We focus on marketing and sales professionals as well as engineers. So we are focused on the industrial product B2B channels. What I noticed, however, as an executive recruiter, is that people don't know how to market themselves properly. They just don't know how to navigate that job search process in order to get hired. So, using inside secrets from the seat of the recruiter and the view of the recruiter, I created the program called Pounding Pavement 101, teaching people exactly how to market themselves using those inside secrets to exponentially increase their chances of getting noticed and hired. And once I get them hired, Cicely, look, I pass them over to you.
And
So
listen, I
go ahead and
appreciate
introduce yourself.
I love that. I appreciate that. Yes, I have spent the last, Cicely Simpson, I've spent the last 20 plus years working in business and politics. And yes, I think I've been probably, Eileen, I could have benefited from your help years ago because finding jobs accelerating in my career was really a trial and error process. And so now that I'm the founder and CEO of my own company, Summit Public Affairs, I'm on a mission to give back. No one helped me navigate that journey. I figured it out on my own. Now my goal is to help others navigate their career journey. Do they want to be a leader? Okay, how do you do that? Are you already a leader and you want to be more impactful in your role? Awesome. How do you do that? Or perhaps you're somebody who says, look, I'm pretty content where I am. I just want to make sure I'm doing the best I can. So the people I talk to come in, all different sort of stages of their career, all different ages. But I love that everybody is just trying to do something a little bit better, or they're trying and striving for that next, big, bold, audacious goal that they have. So I'm having a blast and really loving getting able to work with folks who are in their career journey. And look, quite frankly, you know this as well as I do. We're sharing the lessons we both have learned along the way. And I think that's, people say, why are you doing this? Because I want to help somebody. I want to help somebody demystify that process that wasn't very clear to me.
How wonderful, because I know as I was navigating that concrete jungle, which is what I call it, uh, there was no help, there was no plan. And how wonderful that there is someone who's been down that path before, that these professionals, young professionals, as well as seasoned professionals, that can reach out and see it from an outside view with your best interest at heart.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, likewise. You and I are we're in this spot, and now we're able to help others. So I think we both have similar missions and similar goals. So this conversation is going to be pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to it. So, all right, let's
Definitely.
jump in because I posted something recently, and I was surprised by the comments I got about this post-pandemic environment we're in, this post-pandemic shift, as some people have called it. What are you seeing in the post-pandemic landscape and workplace in terms of folks getting hired and finding jobs?
Yeah, what I'm seeing is all rules are out the door, out the window at this point.
Hmm.
It is a new world order. We need to come up with new strategies in to get hired. What I'm seeing from the company side, however, right now is that companies are hiring. They're
Okay.
hiring at all different levels. I think that we've been in this pandemic a little while now, and I think people need to start getting back to work
Hmm.
in whatever mode that is, be it a remote, a hybrid, moving forward. Companies are ready to start getting back to business as usual, but they are being very selective in who they hire because, look, it takes a lot of time, effort, and money to get someone onboarded. So, really, the companies are taking their time, making sure they're choosing the right person. the interview process is not just one interview anymore.
Mm.
Most companies are really having that person meet everyone in that group. So this way, everyone has the buy-in moving forward.
Is that new? Is that new that companies, you've got to go through a series of 2 or 3 interviews and have those group dynamics sort of tested on the front end? Is that new, or has that always been a trend and it's just exacerbated now?
I think that was a trend coming into the pandemic.
Okay.
But I think that companies are really making sure that everyone is comfortable with the person coming in, because you don't want to inject someone into your corporate culture that is going to bring any kind of negativity, any kind of chaos. You really want someone to work harmoniously with that group.
That's true. I have to admit, I have heard that from others, even on the company side, that and quite frankly, there's even been some folks I've talked to who are new in DC, and they're like, look, I've never met my colleagues because they started during the pandemic. But in the particular gentleman I'm thinking about, he said that, yeah, they were very clear they're testing for fit, but how difficult that was because he never met them in person. But yet that was a crystal clear expectation of him, was that you've got to fit our culture. But how hard is that when you've never met your colleagues in person? What do you think about that?
Well, you have to build that relationship. And now you're doing it over Zoom. So you have to make that little bit of extra effort because you're not going out to lunch together. You're not having those personal conversations. So yeah, it's a new world order moving forward. And certainly, Cicely, I'm sure you're seeing that from the company side. How does someone build that relationship as they're starting at a new job and they're not seeing everyone face to face? What would you recommend?
I think that's where companies are struggling, to be honest with you. There is I would say, tug of war between the status quo and innovation. How do you maintain that culture, but also how do you invite new people into that company now, or that culture, or that industry? There is definitely, I would say, not one way to do it right now. I think companies are doing it a number of different ways, quite frankly, because they don't know what this world looks like now. They're trying to figure out, is it status quo? Do we want people back in the office? No. Okay. Are we willing to tolerate hybrid? Okay. So what does hybrid mean? And that's where I'm seeing a real differentiation between, executives and leaders in companies versus rank and file employees. It really is a different expectation now about what the company should be offering their employees, but vice versa, what individuals are expecting from their companies. And so bottom line, it's communication. I've said to a number of corporate leaders, right now, you cannot communicate enough. No matter where you are on that spectrum, if you're not communicating clearly, concisely where you are as a company, where you're going, you may be in a holding pattern. Totally fine. If you're not communicating that to your employees, it's an opportunity missed.
I think that is key, communication. And I think we really need to drill that into everyone, because if you're working, if you're job searching, you need to communicate with everyone. You need to build those relationships moving forward.
Sure.
From the candidate side, what I'm seeing is right now it is a candidate-driven market.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is an interesting play of what's going on, because what's happening is, there's a big pool of candidates, but there's a lot of jobs. And the problem is, as a recruiter, we've got to match them up together with the right skills, with the right candidate. So you still need to do everything you can to become that candidate of choice, to stand out in the pool of candidates. And what I find is that not everyone knows how to do that. They don't know how to put that best foot forward. And the way I always look at it is, look, if you're going on Shark Tank, okay, or if you're pitching $1 million account, okay, you would do everything in your power to make sure you landed that account. You might hire a marketing expert, you might hire a speech expert, you might hire a financial person to go over your numbers before you walked in to pitch that account. Well, you know what? A job seeker, they're pitching to an employer to spend a lot of money for them to do the work. It's pitching an account. They need to do everything they can to make sure to land that job. That's how I look at it.
I love that. I love the pitch. I love the way you describe that. Is that hard for candidates?
I think it's the hardest thing to do is to market yourself.
Okay.
It's no different than you can't proofread your own work. It's really hard to be objective as you're looking at yourself and trying to put together that resume, which is really a marketing document, or how to present yourself in an interview, how to really reach out to companies, how to make this happen. And for every day that you're not working, as far as I'm concerned, you're losing money.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't believe in wasting time or losing money. Okay,
Sure.
so we need to, no one likes to do that. So we really need to do everything we can to be competitive from day one, not wait 10 months and now first start. Why wouldn't you give yourself the best chance? And I think it's the same thing in that corporate environment. So once
Sure.
you do get that job, you don't want to stay in that one position forever. I would assume that you'd want to progress.
That's right.
So what are you seeing on the company side?
Well, it's interesting. You said the word pitch, and I think that's exactly what I'm seeing once folks are actually hired, whether they're in their roles for a long time, whether they're new to their roles. It's why you? You've got to answer that question. If you are, once you get hired, if you're doing great at your job, awesome. But why you for that next role? Why you for that next, leadership position or that next cross-functional project? That pitch piece that you just articulated is so important because I am constantly trying to help people see, and actually I've got a call later today to do the same thing, is you've got to answer the question, why you? What sets you apart from others in the company, from others on your team? What makes that individual contributor for you so important? Why are you so important to the value of this company as you navigate and as you begin to sort of figure out, your career journey? Look, that journey can go a lot of different ways, and I think we know that. But a lot of that comes back to answering that question of why you, and what value do you bring? What contributions do you bring to this role? And that's the place where people have to start. Believe it or not, as you just said, it's the toughest part. People are not comfortable. They're not comfortable saying, why me? And marketing themselves inside the company. And I say it never stops from the time you get the job to the time you're hired. It's a continuous process throughout your career journey, for sure.
Exactly, because you're starting with your entry level position, but that goes all the way up as you're reaching, for those top positions. Cicely, do you offer that kind of guidance in your training program?
I do actually, because quite frankly, that's the place to start. And you know this, you've got to believe in yourself and be able to articulate why you believe in yourself and your everyday. And that's every day. That's not just those one moments where you get that that review or that next opportunity. But likewise, do you also talk about how to market yourself in your coaching program with your clients?
Yeah, I really show people exactly how to market themselves.
Okay.
So the skills that I teach is exactly from the view of the recruiter, because look, I'm the one who's looking at 500 plus resumes a day. I'm the one who's doing the interviews.
That's right.
So, it's kind of like if you're in school, who's the best person to ask what test and what should I study for the test? You ask the teacher, right. Okay, not the principal. The principal knows the curriculum, but the teacher's the one who wrote the test. So I'm the recruiter who is looking and reviewing candidates. I'm the one who's talking to companies. I'm the one who's talking to candidates. I'm seeing the overall view and I'm sharing those inside secrets, and it's getting people hired rapidly, which is wonderful.
Tried and true lessons, huh? That's great.
Yeah, definitely. And these are, I think both of us are really teaching life skills that were maybe missed in college because we were so worried about learning our trade that we missed those basic skills. So really, you and I have a 1-2 punch in this.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, let's keep this going. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep talking about what we're seeing. Hopefully the person who's watching this, who has those questions, hopefully we're going to give them some clarity and help them figure out how to navigate their journey. But this has been awesome. Thank you for your time. I'm grateful for it.
This is fantastic. And let's talk our next topic. What are we going to discuss, Cicely?
Well, you know what? I'm actually going to let you decide that. What's our next topic that we're going to talk about?
I think we're going to talk about trends that we're noticing and what's going on in the workplace.
All right.
So let's discuss that. And everyone, hope you tune back in.
Absolutely. Listen, Eileen and I are grateful for your time, grateful for you watching this video. We're going to talk about trends. I'm going to do my homework. And we're going to come back hopefully very soon and continue the conversation. Eileen, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Cicely.